all committee members, IE members, invitees. They're happy. Good evening to everyone. This is the occasion we are going to hear from an eminent person about smart supply chain using IoT, Internet of Things. So over to Samidas, our past chairman, to introduce the speaker to the audience, sir. Samidas, sir, please.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Dr. Phukan. It's my proud privilege to introduce Dr. Pranjal Kumar Phukan. He is a nationally and internationally acclaimed supply chain professional with over 25 years of industrial experience in supply chain and operation management with leading companies in India. He has worked in automotive, telecommunication, engineering, and oil and gas projects. He has successfully executed high-value procurements through e-sourcing and reverse section, global source development, system integration with Ariba, SAP, and correlating the data based on analysis, namely SWOT, PEST, POTUS, 5-force analysis, and Magic Quadrant analysis. He is also a core member as a resource person in the Kaziranga University, located in Jorhat, Assam, Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship, Guwahati, and Gwalior Incubation Center under Government of India initiative located in Madhya Pradesh. Dr. Pranjal is contributing towards entrepreneurship as Honorary Director of Strategy International Council of Technology, Management and Applied Engineering, shortly called ICMAE, Bangalore, and Global Mentor International Supply Chain Execution Alliance, Bangalore. Dr. Phukan has contributed more than 45 case papers on operations and supply chain management for business professionals and management students, and with more than 40 industry-related articles in magazines of repute, namely Chemical Today, Hydrocarbon Processing, Offshore World, etc. Dr. Phukan has authored the book titled Limits to Industry on Philosophy and Sciences, which was published in 2013 by White Phukan Publishing, Chandigarh. Dr. Phukan is a member of the Institution of Engineers. With this brief introduction, I request Dr. Phukan to take over.
Sir, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I am thankful to Ramadhan Saab, Chairman IEI, and also Samidas sir, that we got acquainted with each other a few months back, and that then after that actually we're just thinking like how to move about it, and finally we have decided for this particular subject, and the day was fixed, and today is the day. So obviously I can say that through these web-enabled systems, actually we can in touch with such a long distance. The remotest part of the countries, both the remote part of the countries, one is extreme south and one is extreme northeast. So I should like now share that PPT, yes, this one. So this is basically regarding that supply chain part, which is like a very important aspect, so that the name is called SMART, the specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timeline, so that a better perspective can be looked into while going for any type of enterprises, any type of sectors, considering the disruptions happening presently everywhere, and obviously the demand and supply part, which is also getting affected because of many regions, as you all know. So this is the first, that is the first page, which is very clear. In the mid, it is centralized cloud, means cloud services, cloud computing, because everything is now virtual. So we also talking virtually. So everything is getting stored somewhere, or you can say communications are enabled somewhere virtually. So that is the reason, like, if I say it is all emerging thing coming up, which was already there in the system earlier also, but now the necessity is basically the part of it, so that it has come up and it is looking into more formidable as earlier. Now, if I go for the second one, this is the basic definitions of any domain. So here definitions may be like it is encompasses all facilities and functions and activities which are more or less associated with like flow, a continuous and continuity of anything is happening only with the flow. And if flow happens, then obviously transformation happens. So obviously we are going for the any transformations, either for that you can say goods and services, uh, like for any procurement which is happening like in government e-marketplace, if I say for the MSMEs, is also only the transformation and nothing else. The transformations of goods and services from like vendor end to the customer end. So primarily if you see the national perspective presently, after this coming up of Atmanirbhar Bharat and all these things, so the public sector is the prime receiver, uh, and to mandate this, actually the government has also pulled up these facilitations of the supply chains for PSUs through government e-marketplace, mandatorily under GFR rule also. So these are an integrated group of processes where we can say like how to source, where to source, how to make, where to make, and how to deliver and where to deliver. So that way it is a streamlining of the process which comes under this particular domain. So if you see the infographics, like you all are from the industries, specifically like BHEL, Trichy is very much into associated with the public sectors. So that's the reason like we have this type of things which are there like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So however we are just encompassing like how we are integrating the whole thing, like suppliers at one end, and then another end is the customers, then in between the suppliers and customers, like physical storages, physical centers of distributions, physical warehousings, physical factories. These are all need to be physical. These cannot be virtual, but only communication and information, two-way communication information is now enabled through this technology, so that there should be a real-time information of data. And that is there are many pros and cons of this also. Pros is like it is faster, real time, but cons like cyber security threats, then hacking, then there may be like complex data which may be relevant, non-relevant, so which may also kill time, processing time, computing time. And with this infographics, it is now three things are actually binding the whole process. One is obviously the procurement or sourcing, we can say. And secondly, after procurement, obviously, to like we have said, the transformation of production, how to make it. And finally, distribution, which is delivery. So see that the brown band is basically the information flow, which has to encompass all these three major sector like procurement, production, and distributions. So that at that time only we can say, okay, now this process is totally, like you can say, functional. But there are some aspects we have seen, like as I've given an example of government marketplace, some problems are there for the service providers, because service providers are actually, they are not manufacturers, so they are the service providers. So their market is very dynamic compared to manufacturing. And for service providers, they were focused on the flow of the physical goods. They focus on the flow of the services. Services, maybe they are intangible and tangible both. So it is actually virtually for every time it is virtual, because services is always involved with some emotions, some human touch and all these things. And service providers always focuses on human resource and support services, because to provide the service to the end customers, now linking with the producers and the customers, that focus is always in between the human resource and support services. Here in this present situation, support service is most important to enable emerging technologies, and they are more compact and less extended. So they are more or less compacted to a particular sector. So they cannot say that like I can be a number of sectors at one time. If you see the example of AWS, Amazon Web Services, it started with 1994 with book services, but now it is in 194 services. So they've extended, but their extension is limited to like 194 sectors. So 194 sectors, they are not saying at one sector. So this is more compact as compared to the manufacturing part. When we discuss about any value chain, supply chain, then obviously the value chains always comes into picture, because supply chain is a huge domain where each and every processes, each and every parameters, each and every functions is, as I said, as I shown, three things are basically embedded. So values has to be there in each process, otherwise that linkage in supply chain will be weak. So value chain means every step which is happening from the raw material transformation of raw materials to eventual end users, and ultimate goal is delivery of the maximum value. So this is the value chain specifically, if I say for any service or supplies. And considering under the supply chains, if I say for these, there are two chains are there. One is value and one is supply. To supply, obviously, as I told, so ultimate goal is that the supply chain should enhance the value of the chain. So value chain has to be enhanced in any case of supply chains, or otherwise the supply chain can be termed as a weak supply chain or disrupted supply chain, which we have very formidably we have seen during this period of 6 to 7 months globally. So there is one more chain called demand chain. So if there is no demand, then there is no supply. So the supply and demand is always plays a key role. So it actually increases value. When demand is more, obviously we are going to increase more value to any part of the chain, and these are interchangeable. And finally, the value, if I say, then it is the creation of value for the customers, like quality. Quality is the value perceived by the customers. So that is one of the most vital aspect of any SCM. So if supply chain will only sustain and continue only if the value is enhanced, the value is maintained. Now it is as I said, during transformations, the flow of information is also important to maintain this transformation effectively with value. And in order to attain this, some of the key effective supply chains, key parameters, most important parameters to an effective supply chain, which are like first is information. That is always important. Not now. It is important when it was called as materials management earlier. Second is communication, two-way, and thirdly cooperation between the stakeholders and trust. So now if I say in case of uncertainty and inventory, so I see uncertainty is the only thing. That's the reason I think government has put more emphasis on virtual platforms for like connecting all these small micro enterprises with the large corporations, specifically the public sectors, because uncertainty and inventory, because when uncertainty is more, inventory will be more. So to cope with this uncertainty and inventory thing, so that the value doesn't get diminished. So the major objective of any supply chain in any procurement process is basically to respond to uncertainty. So if you are able to respond to uncertainty in customer demand without creating costly excess inventory, then I can say that that particular supply chain of the process is well under the purview of enhancing the value in the complete chains. So the response to uncertainty is one of the most important thing, because the negative effect of uncertainty, as you know, it will lead to late deliveries, late productions, late adaptation to the market, and obviously the incomplete orders, which will lead to bad name in the name of the organizations if they cannot supply these on time. Like there are many penalty systems in our like public sector procurements or any procurement during contract management. So this lateness and incomplete orders are the negative effect. And finally, the inventory. This is actually seen basically to any organization, because it is basically covering a lot of cost. Means your material is whole, so your cost is involved. Insurance is involved. Piling of materials also lead to your places. You need to have more spaces for keeping these materials. There's also shelf life, so you have to maintain those shelf life. And if you're going to do any like selling it out, then obviously it will also you'll get in less cost. So these are the things. If you go through the gem, then obviously these are all online. So I think this is the one way. Actually, why I'm saying government e-marketplace more, because see, if I can explain much better in practical way, like how supply chain can be more effective using the smart supply chain. If I am saying a smart supply chain, more effective only if we have the better communication, better information flows, and better understanding of our processes and parameters which are there. Are we relooking into our procedures? Are we really looking into our factors, external internal factors, which are affecting the whole supply chain time to time? And for this, I think the best thing is for with this emerging technologies that we can at least compute this large scale of data in real time and in correct time, and correctly we can have a forecast, we can have a predictive, prescriptive type of analytics, so that we can keep this one of the most important thing that is the inventory out of our ambit. So because maintaining inventory is required, is must, but not to the extent of a large inventory or huge inventory. And secondly, how to maintain, because why inventory is more, when inventory is more, when uncertainty is more, obviously inventory will be more. Now, there are some of the factors which contributes to uncertainty. Like I have noted here some of the points, like when you have the inaccurate demand forecasting, and why this happen, because your in two-way communication, the communication from the market or customer is not available at the right time, or correct information is not available. There may be some complex data, it's difficult to compute. If there is long variable lead time, suppose if you are procuring this material from like overseas, then obviously lead time will be very high. So you have to take into account like at what time your reordering should start. So that is also a reason. Late deliveries by the suppliers, then incomplete shipments, like segregated shipments mostly comes. It is not coming as per the contracts. Suppose you have given the order, but while delivering, your supply will say, will inform you that our product has got changed. Then how to accommodate these changed products? Whether if you are going to cancel this order, then obviously due to long variable lead time, you cannot meet your demand which you have forecasted. Then batch ordering, then price fluctuations due to this many situations, not only pandemic but any situations, natural force majeure situations or something, it may happen, and inflated orders may also happen. So these are some of the factors which leads to uncertainty. And if we can plan accordingly our process and systems and all these things, and if you can use these emerging technologies like AI enabled, or you can say like machine learning, or you can say deep learning, or you can say forecasting methods, then through this also you can analyze this data if you have a large quantum of data. So with this, at least you can say that your uncertainty level can be maintained to a particular level. See, uncertainty cannot be zero, but it can be maintained to a particular permissible level. Now, one more term is there in supply chain called bullwhip effect. It is basically, if you see the bullwhip effect, mainly basically occurs when a slight demand variability is magnified. If you see the chart, if suppose someone has given this demand, so you have piled up the inventory, and that is basically in the infographics you can see that tier 3 supply has piled up some inventory. Okay, the tier 2 supply will give some demand, and he also pile up some inventory. Same way tier 1 also will demand. But at the moment, if I say for the plant or the factory, the main factory, if he is going to give the order to tier 1 supplier, he does not have that stock to supply, or he will create some magnified demand to his tier 2 and tier 3, and this will lead to an effect which is called bullwhip effect, which will affect your end sales, your customers. So that's the reason, like it will lead to like inventory pile up in all the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and you can say the final receiver or the factory, and which also lead to a particular inventory level at the user end, like retailers, distributors. So it will create a havoc due to which their supply chain is getting disturbed, and it is also a case of you can say that is the uncertainty. So this is one of the effect called bullwhip effect. Now I'm coming back to the main thing, because now if we do not discuss anything on ICT, that information technology or information computational technology, which are the supply chain enabler. Not only supply chain enabler, they are enabler for many other aspect of any other domains also, but specifically supply chain is required because it encompasses many processes, many methods, many sectors, many types of activities in the whole, from starting from the drawing table to the end customers or at this customer's doorstep. So information links are basically why it is important, because these are some of the information links which are affecting the supply chain. Like one is e-business, then it also affect the replacement of physical business process with electronic ones, then EDIs, then computer to computer exchange of business documents, barcoding, then point of sale, and data, which creates an instantaneous computer record of sale. So these are the sort of things which are basically affected by this information technology as an enabler to supply chain, and how it is enabling. Like radio frequency, everyone knows RFID is the technology which is not new, but now with this emerging technology, it has got some prominence, because to maintain your inventory and flow of material to your end customers, and also it gives a backward integration to the manufacturing and production planning, like how the products are getting sold, and how is the customers perception of the products, and all these things based on which your S&OP, sales and operation planning, can be done. And obviously the internet, like 4G, 5G is coming into picture now. So this allows for the IoT based services. This allows companies to communicate with the suppliers, with the customers, with the shippers, other businesses around instantaneously without moving or meeting physically. Like that is called serviceless, contactless servitizations. It can happen very fast. Then BTO, build to order, it is basically direct sell to customers through internet, like direct selling. Extensive communication, suppliers and customers, you can have the feedback from any sources from the social network, social sites. So you can from the from the internet, from your records, everything can be now assessed. Can all types of data can be assessed. They can be computed, so that you can have a very well, like what to build and what not to build, like make to order type. So that way it is also enabling supply chain activities. So this infographic specifically, if I say for the EDI, that is information data interchange, that links supply chain members from suppliers, producers, and customers, all are now interlinked through this EDI, which is helping us for any manufacturing or service sector for the order processing. Parallelly, you can say paymenting, like generating payments receipt and payment invoices, then production control, inventory control, distribution control. Similarly, the RFID is also it uses the radio frequencies, which transfers data between scanners and items. Then you are also familiar with barcodes. Barcodes for the identifying the information about the products as they are flowing through the supply chains, which includes product descriptions, their numbers, source, destination, handling procedures, cost, or everything. Means it is completely, you can say, information flow is happening at one time. Then obviously the internet for the IoTs or IIoT type, it is basically very easy to communicate now overseas to any countries, any industries, with all your stakeholders like suppliers, customers, shippers, or any other business around the world simultaneously. Now regarding the e-business, so this e-business basically, if I say, this e-business is to this is basically a computer to computer exchange. If you see that particular photo at the bottom, we are all accustomed to this traditional data interchange earlier, where that lots of phone calls, for lots of emails, hard copy of the post used to basically link the information between one part of the one section of the department to another section. Now with this EDI, basically it is very easy, because now you have computer to computer exchange of documents in some standard formats as per the global standard or industry standard or your own specific standard, through which we can have the purchasing, shipping, and receiving. We can get the customer feedback very fast, so that you can improve the customer services. Obviously, we can reduce this paperwork. It increases productivity because it can be done anywhere, anytime, from any location, and it's improved billing and cost efficiency and less error because less human intervention is there. and also reduces the bullwhip effect, which is creating uncertainty, unnecessary uncertainty in the whole chain. Regarding the barcode, if I say it is also a automated data collection system because it contains identified informations which can be identified by the end user, and it also provides instantaneous tracking information directly connected to your computer. It also check out the scanners while creating POS. It updates your inventory records on real-time basis, how much is entering, how much is going out of your warehouse. It also identify the trends. It also help for the ordering materials, schedule the orders as you have scheduled, planned your production, filing inventory. So also helps in scheduling your orders for the marketing and sales, and plan your deliveries, like at what time, which period of time, at which date or which day it should be delivered to the end customers or your retailers, distributors, or you can say CNF agents. So this RFID, if you see that photo, then obviously you can understand there are some backend. Backend is happening with it is linked to your application, like any monitors, laptops, handheld devices. So this actually is processing for, once it is being scanned by the reader, then obviously it get transferred to your backend, where the database is there, where algorithms are being maintained. So through backend algorithm, it makes the calculation and it's feed to the applications, your system, so that it can track and it can provide, it can basically keep all the data available at one place for computing at the real time or later time. So it provides a complete visibility of where the product is lying, how it is, for how many days, for how many weeks it is being lying there, and it provides a continuous inventory monitoring. One is physical perpetual inventory is happening, but still system inventory can be reconciled later on, and it is a continuous monitoring process. It requires less labor for managing this inventory, moving here and there. There's lesser requirement of like maintaining on hard copies, registers, and obviously when you look into this monitoring process very carefully, your inventory cost will be maintained. It reduced to a substantial level so that your uncertainty can be controlled. So it is just a graph to show it how they are capable. Like it can direct packages through conveyor system. It can be in the conveyor system itself fitted there. It can be like reading items in inventory at store, or you can see in transit also. Then employees can find items in bins or put items in bins with RFID. They don't have to search each and every shelf, or you can say the markings or bin cards. It may get lost or got damaged, but this RFID can immediately track it. And also it checks while arriving the truckload for security and update the inventory instantaneously once it is inside and when it is going outside. Now it also keep track of items on ships leaving the global port or coming into, for example, like United States, it can like coming into any countries, for India also for security purpose, custom purpose. That customers can find a pair of jeans with the size on the store shelf, radio vend provided by store. Suppose the customer is being provided with a wearable device with RFID tag on it, then once it moves, if you search for a particular kind of jeans or trousers or shirts, then when it reaches that particular shelf, it will provide the signal, and the customer can know that, oh, okay, that my material is available here. Now he can go and check it. Otherwise, for large mall and all these things, the customers cannot be guided properly, and they also in the meantime, though you're having the lots of footfalls on your mall, but your sale will be less. Now, coming to supply chain integration, see, the supply chain value can only be enhanced if all the informations, all the activities are properly integrated. So for this information sharing should happen between the supply chain members, so that we can reduce the bullwhip effect, means backward and forward both. We can have early problem detection in the whole chain, whole system. We can have faster response to the ensuing problem. We can build trust and confidence among the partners, among the stakeholders. Then collaborative planning can also happen. Collaborative planning, forecasting, replacement, and design. This should also happen. That is called CPFR. It is very much important, because through that only you can have a better collaboration to reduce the bullwhip effect between the stakeholders. You can have lower cost related to materials, logistics, operating. You can higher capacity utilization. You can be more agile. You can be more like you can transition. You can have better transitions from the one services to another, or one product type to another product type, and obviously you can provide better services to customers. You should be basically coordinated workflow should be there. Production and operations in procurements, production efficiency has to be enhanced for integration purpose. While integration, it will enhance the efficiencies of production, due to which I think it is being known and it is being proven that when production efficiencies are improved, it will have much faster response to, as per the sales and operation planning, to marketing and sales. You will provide better improved services, and also you can be more faster to market and adopt new business model technologies. So it is a continual process where we have to adopt new business models, new finance models, new technologies, emerging technologies, so that we can penetrate, we can understand the market better, new markets better, we can have better plans to penetrate, we can penetrate properly. We can be in a position to create more new products apart from the continuing products. Our efficiency of production can be improved, and mass customization can also be thought of. When I'm saying that CPFR, that is collaborative, there is a collaboration between the partners, stakeholders regarding planning, forecasting, and replacement. So when two or more companies in a supply chain are going to synchronize their demand forecast into single plan, then parties electronically exchange, they have to exchange these five things. That is the past sales trends, point of sale data, on hand inventories with each other, and schedule promotions and forecastings. So that way we can have a better collaborative effect. In the pandemic situation, actually it is being told that more the industries collaborate with each other, so there'll be lesser uncertainty, and there'll be lesser inventory piling up, and there'll be more agile to and respond to the customer demands. They can be more like they can be more in a position to change their services or products faster. Penetration will be faster because new arenas, new markets are evolving day by day. And that's the reason maybe some old markets, old services may be obsolete in 4 to 5 years as being forecasted. So how to get hold of it, how to can make your business continuity survive. You can have a business continuity in place. So this collaborative effect, CPFR, is very much required, very much need of the hour between the companies or industries. There are some of the supply chain softwares. As one, you are all aware, is ERP, called the Enterprise Resource Planning, through which like one is SAP, or you can say many others are there. Then the BAN and all these things, many are there, but SAP is more formidable. So through this, actually, we can interconnect among the processes or departments within the organization, like purchasing, customer web, CRM and sale, distribution, project management. Then we can finance, manufacturing, like PM module. So through this, we can have a better understanding of each and every activity happening across the organization, and we can have a better dashboard for the management information systems to the top management or internal stakeholders, and outside also during collaboration. So these are some of the very basic metrics which is known to everyone, but still I thought I should just put it so that we can refresh on this thing. As I told, uncertainty and inventory are the basic problem. These are the most known sin in any industry. So we should be in a position to understand this inventory turnover and total value of inventory. So these are now everything is in the system. So if you are enabling your data computing, so obviously these two things are also required to be known to your policymakers, your executors, or among the stakeholders, that inventory turnover and total value inventory should be within the optimal range. And obviously the days of supply, to consider the long lead time or short lead time, so that you can manage your reorder levels. And fill rate, that is the fraction of orders filled by the distribution center within a specified period of time. So obviously your distribution centers at the customer end, So this field rate also needs to be required for your backward integration for better and agile sales and operation planning in place. Then one point is also called SCO, or Supply Chain Operation Reference Model. This is also not new, but not very old also. It comes into picture in India like for the last 3 to 5 years only. One very prominent institute called APICS is giving some certification on this SCOR certification. So in this, basically, this I just put it in a very summarized manner that most important things are to be understood here is like planning, like how to develop a course of action that best meets sourcing, production, delivery. Then comes sourcing, how to procure goods and services to meet your planned or actual demand, means SNOP. Then how to make so that you can transfer products to a finished state to meet planned or actual demand, and delivery to the customer, including the order management, transportation, and distribution. And finally, this return basically is the returning your products, post-delivery customer supports, after sales, and all these things. So it has some performance matrices, like three matrices in the vertical one, like performance attribute, performance matrix, and definitions are given. So if I say for the first one is customer facing, in customer facing, performance attributes are basically their supply chain delivery reliability and supply chain responsiveness and supply chain flexibility. So if I say for the customer perspective, then these three is important, and matrices are regarding for the supply chain reliability, delivery reliability. Matrices are like delivery performance, your fill rate, and perfect order fulfillment. And if I say for the supply chain response, then order and fulfillment lead time. If I say for the flexibility, then supply chain response time and production flexibility. Now for the internal facing, that is internal, one is supply chain cost. The supply chain cost, the matrix is supply chain management cost, cost of goods sold, value added productivity, warranty returns, processing time cost basically. And one is supply chain asset management efficiency, where the matrix is cash to cash cycle time, inventory days of supplies, and asset returns. Now in digitization supply chain, if I say, because smart cannot be smart unless and until you have a real-time information, real-time data processing, and real-time information, so that you can act on real-time to take, means real-time response has to be there so that you can make your plan accordingly as per the demand. So more inputs, like in the while digitization, you can have more inputs now from the consumer, from the consumption, from the assumptions, initiatives, data on like risk and opportunities available, and operating data. Now through this digitization, you have faster and better processing, and you have better output like prediction output, plan output, correlation output, insight output, decision output. So this leads to what? Efficiency, effectiveness, and speed of your processes. So if I see in this quadrant form, then if I say that there are basically 4 quadrants. One is calling for this planning part. Second one is sell use. Third is execution, and fourth is buy, make, move. So in planning part, logistics planning, design, production planning, simulation planning. If I say for the sale or use, then assortment planning, replenishment planning, demand sensing planning. And for the execution, you can say for the predictive maintenance, how about it, value-added services, how about it, and for the make or buy or move, then you have to go for the production automation, that is Industry 4.0, which I can speak later. If you require, then I can give a session on this Industry 4.0, how to like what is the significance of I 4.0 and how it is affecting supply chain processes. And real-time monitoring. So see, if I do the digitization, then only I can have a real-time monitoring. I can have the 100% automation like robotic process automations. I can have a more predictive maintenance using big data. I can have more valued services if I get the proper and accurate data at real time. And planning of assortment, replacement, demand sensing can only be done if our planning of logistic, design, production, and simulation is in proper place. And it happens only if it is being enabled with emerging technologies. The factory automation, as I said, like I 4.0, it is basically, if you see the infrastructure backbone, you can see that This is basically just a show like how the quality assurance, laser writing, assembly, and engraving. These are all basically companies which are providing this type of services for automating your factory in a particular term called digitization. So with this, many other providers also there, like Cisco is there, Siemens is there. These are all companies. Smart Factory is one. So they're already having some type of things in their place. Like someone is for like coordination and infrastructure. Someone is for the production security. Someone is for power measurement. Someone is for infrastructure. Someone is for ERP. Someone is for like product lifecycle management. So as per your choice, you can use any of these technology or service providers for automating your process, so that you can call a smart factory with smart supply chain. And there are some challenges also. Like, it is very easy to say that if you have digitized supply chain, then we can have a better life, better future, smart future. But there are some challenges. So if I say, then first challenge you can see like qualitative intelligence. There will be a lot more assumptions behind numbers because the number of data will be very huge. It is growing, evolving day by day. Then risk and opportunities. Then reason codes like drivers. What if the gaps are being there? Who will drive this gap? Who will fill this gap? Then initiative management, like who will initiate this? Who will process this? Who will take the onus? Then obviously, like for the comprehensive workflow, like data management and data validations, plan dashboard analysis, interactive plannings, intelligent analytics. If I say who will do the root cause analysis, how it will be done, in what process it will be done, like conventional method is different. And if I go for the data computing, then whether I'm competent enough to make this algorithm properly working for my system, then how to manage this capacity risk, inventory risk, then NPI, UL risk, the faster response. If we are all saying like it will give you a faster response, faster scenarios, but how fast planning, what type of fast planning, like how will be making this planning for the fast decision, how much fast, to what level is be faster, then who will do, what if things happens like in scenario planning, then who will do and how it will be done for the simulations, and how will this intelligence information propagation will happen across the industry, across your partners, and real-time collaboration will happen, how it will happen. So many things are there. So these are challenges. If I say for like regarding business insights, if I say for a day in the life of planner, beyond numbers and fast decisions. So these four things are actually disturbing the all CXOs of any industry, like adopting of any digitization activity or transformation activity for improving the process and product and services, leading to a smart supply chain. But these are also the questions which needs handholding by some experts, or you can say by some mentors, which any industry, big industry can manage, but small and micro, they are finding really difficult. So the penetration of this digitization in India is quite slower as compared to the global standards. So as I again repeating that digitization basically will help in three areas. One is connectivity for automation and for technologies. For techno connectivity, it will be like enabling in leveraging mobile, which will be like handhold using IoTs. Then it will then later also promoting collaboration between people to people, real-time visibility through barcoding, RFID, IoT, and all the devices, scanners, and all these things. Automation like consumption based replenishment can happen. You can discuss now for the inventory, keeping inventory or build to order or make to order based on the consumption usages. And intelligence CPS sensing and propagation like smart alerting or sharing of data between the actuators and sensors which are placed in the system. Then obviously that data and system driven sales and operation planning, like or automatic report generation for on required intervals for your management. And then technologies like in-memory platforms for speed, cloud computing for fast deployments, and open platform architecture for expandable and flexibility of business. So this is the enablers. One is connectivity, one is automation and technology. So these three things are basically the prime enablers in supply chain, which will lead to the ultimate objectives of managing a perfect value chain system in the whole supply chain. Now, as we all know, due to this pandemic situations, everyone is speaking for the globalization, like act local, think global, something like that. So also our government is primarily pushing into this for the Atmanirbhar and all these things. So if I say that like implementation can be done through four ways, like if I say like implement global integrated demand planning process and system. Now, second one is implement your global demand supply match and implement regional incremental demand supply match and build solution on a single platform. So it means you're producing locally, but your things should always be on global factor, global demands, global means across demography. So if I say the supply network 1, 2, 3 is there as per the diagram, so your demand networks and your supply networks, if I say that they should be like that the demand network between these supply networks, if you see the colors also, so that way they should manage this demand network across the globe through any of the multimodal transportation system as being shown like rail, air, and water. So that way we can implement localization only if you are acting in a regional basis, means regional basis, but we have to serve the global demand, requirements. So all these four steps, like how to implement this global integrated planning process, how to implement this global demand supply matching, how to implement regional incremental demand supply matching, means segment planning, and finally how to build solution on a single platform. Single platform means a single platform with a single technology which can be used or which can be enhanced through this, like instead of going for the multiple platforms which are presently available across the world, because it will create some problem during integration process. And if any technology goes, because technology means it is evolving every day, every hour, so it should not get like it should not be redundant. That particular technology which you are going to build your solutions should not get redundant. If I say for a platform called SAP, so SAP has evolved a lot, but SAP, if I continue, then I can be more confident that if SAP is revamping or changing its technology, and obviously it will provide the user immediately all the requirements for transition to the new platform. Now, this is how to upgrade the sales and operation planning. Traditional way, we know that we have to have the aggregated snapshot information. We having some challenges on data integrity. We don't know like what type of data is there. This is very slow, like we used to go for like quarterly, monthly type of processes. Then we have some unconstrained data forecast, with forecast driven constraints are there. Then unidirectional reporting workflows, then volume disconnect is there, no early warning mechanism was there, like leading to more uncertainty and bullwhip effect. Finger pointing and blame game is happening in traditional SNOP because everything is happening in islandic manner. And after the effect happens mostly for the corrective action. But if you say for the new generation SNOP with emerging technologies, then you can have more live information, then you can have more better and practical focus on your data. It can be more faster, more frequent, like weekly basis, if you can say for the daily basis also. Then constraint SNOP plan driven, so we know the constraints earlier, real-time basis, so that we can plan accordingly. We are having more multi-directional, real-time collaborative decision workflows across the organization. Volume synchronization can happen on real-time because data is real. It is coming on both-way communication. We can have better alerts, smart alerts, risk and opportunity visibility because we have sensors, we have actuators, we have all the technologies placed at the primary areas, which give data on real-time basis, on 24/7 basis. And we can have more sharing of actions, solving the issues together in collaborative way than finger pointing and blaming each other. And we can have better preventive corrective actions, which is not like it is happening after the accident or incident has happened. This is also the smart supply chain. Actually, we also focused on the reducing decision time, because if decision time is more, then obviously your lead time will be more. You will not be considered as agile, and very soon this type of activities will lead to distress zone of any organizations. So if I say the action time and value cost, if your action time is more, so value the cost leading to making decision is basically, if I see the risk and opportunity, where if you see the graph, if that in the action time, it starts from the risk and opportunity event to the decision taken. So if you have the data transfer latency, planning latency, decision latency, then obviously your time, your value is getting, like, the graph goes down, isn't it? So if the latency is there, if you have shared visibility, if you have ready data ready for planning, if you have the scenarios already evaluated, then your decision taking is also as per the according to time, your value, the cost involved with the value, value services will be reduced, and you will have a better decision making process, so that you can be faster and agile to the market. So if they say the real-time propagation collaboration, then smart collaboration, integrated email, smart alerts. Through this, you can have the risk and opportunity event at real time. All planning processes can be in single platform, as I told. So with the single platform, basically you can share all these data through business graphs, high performance analytics, and then integrated task management. Your approvals are electronic now. No hard copies has to move. So, and your plans can be linked, so that updates can also be linked, and assumptions and forecasts and assumptions, all these things can happen across the board, which is visible to everyone. As I told, for the government marketplace also, where suppliers and buyers both can have this data in a single dashboard from both the sides. So the supplier also know, like, uh, when is my order received, when I have supplied, when my payment is there. Same way, the buyer can say that, okay, I have placed this order, my order is received on this date, and I have processed the data. And it can also lead to decision support with the scenario planning and visual management digest. So your management can get the information without asking for information from any department separately. So all information will be shared in real time on the dashboard in a single platform, so they can go and access it without asking for any help or any support from anyone. So with this, actually, I just completed this the basic concept of smart supply chain, and I'm associated with many organizations, and typically I'm also associated with, like, many institutions, education institutions also, with MSMEs, with uh, organizations like for the advisory services leading to any like operational matters, supply chain matters, and I'm also discussing more on the supply chain network designing, because see, this is also part of the like enabling technologies, or implementing technology. Before that, we should have an understanding of our processes and systems, so that that supply chain network can be redesigned to accommodate the present requirement of the market, customers, so that you can, with the lesser investments, minimum, or you can say optimal investments, you can continue your business. And business continuity is the need of the hour for any sector in services and supplies, because without this, any large organizations or small organizations or medium organizations cannot survive. So that's the reason this is called supply chain. So it is not only for supplies, it starts with for like from the drawing board, like when the design is happening, is R&D, research and development. From that day onwards, it's the supply chain activity starts until your intended service and supply reaches to the customer's doorstep. So I think with this, I'm just closing this my presentation. Now I'm open for any questions if you have, so that we can discuss on this, and if you need, and we can discuss more on IIE Industry 4.0 later on, because this is totally on process automations. See, product with automation, is this possible, and government policy requiring GST implementation had difference in supply chain. See, because supply chain is also like your payment methods. Like if I say in supply chain, we are also introducing blockchain for ledger maintenance, like P2P, procure to pay. So these are also already being implemented practically in government e-marketplace also. If you go to GEM, because I think all PSUs are mandated, so BHL also is also with the GEM. So you know that any changes in the GST percentage or GST requirement or statutory requirements, it is getting automatically updated as per the DP guidelines. So it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference, because ultimately whatever is happening in commercial terms in this country has to be have to maintain the statutory requirements. So for any multi-branding, multi-product, for any warehousing activities, it is obviously it is possible. It is possible because it is a case of like implementing technologies, and obviously when technology is being implemented, so it is implemented in accordance with your requirement of the present processes. It doesn't hamper. I mean, it's not required to hamper your existing process. Like if when we implemented SCP like in 15 years back, so it is also a part of technology only. It is a part of technology, and it has made the life of like commercial, procurement, marketing, sales, manufacturing so easy, because every information is now in a single platform and it can be retrieved at any point of time.
So any other question anybody have?
Mr. Pranjal Kumar, good evening. This is Dharmalingam.
First chairman, sir,
Yeah, good
the
evening, sir.
reference to industry 4, sir, I4. What way the supply chain is important, sir, please, sir.
See, industry 4.0 is basically dark factory. It is called dark factory, DARK, dark factory.
Okay.
Dark factory means 100% automated, no manpower required inside the factory. Okay. All
Okay.
machines will be performing the intended task. So it is called dark factory. So obviously supply chain will always be there. Because if the raw materials are not supplied, if the material are not processed, if materials are not delivered out of the factory, and if it doesn't reaches the intended customer, and during this process, if the commercial part is not getting means not getting fruitful, means not getting like involved, so supply chain is not, it can be said that there is no supply chain. It cannot happen like that. Supply chain has to be there. Only difference now with industry first means 1.0 to 4.0 is that industry 4.0 is says that it will be totally robotic. All industries, whether service industry or manufacturing industry, will be robotic. So robotic means it will be managed by artificial intelligence, enable machine learning, deep learning, robotic process automations, using cloud services, using your augmented reality and virtual reality to connect with the suppliers, connect with the customers, connect with the stakeholders. So everything will be handhold. Means it is basically IoT, Internet of Things, advanced to IIoT, Industry Internet of Things, advanced to industry 4.0. So it is very interesting thing now, because it is totally like replacing the humans interacting with humans, making it like machines interacting with human perception of mind. That's the difference.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Pranjal Kumar, earlier you mentioned about bullwhip effect.
Yes, sir.
Can you share any real-time example that has occurred in Indian companies?
Yes, it occurs basically when I was in Tata Motors, Jamshedpur. It mostly occurs. It mostly occurs and is very painful for production planning and control department, because what is happening, like during the SNOP meeting, they have some forecast from the customers and some of the markets, based on which we make the production planning for like 1 month or break up into like weekly basis. But when we are going to production for daily basis, we never achieve 90% of productivity, because every time 10 to 15% is due to bullwhip effect. Last moment crisis comes into picture, that this particular brand is not required, that this particular model is not required, because and due to which what has happened that inventory at all the ends are piled up. Means finished products like trucks are piled up inside the plant, and same way your vendors inventories are also piled up. Later on, what happens when we are going for the like second supplies, the supplier says that my product will be more costly because I have paid money for keeping this material for you for the last like 2-3 months. So to sort out this, what Tata Motors have very smartly done, they have have a VMI, vendor managed inventory, so that they can have their own, because Tata Motors have leased out their inside storage areas to the vendors, and on rentable basis, they will keep their material as per the production planning schedule given to them. And if it is not required, this is their responsibility. And secondly, if it is required, they have to supply to the vehicle assembly line or as zero inventory case, real-time basis. So that way we have controlled the uncertainty leading to bullwhip effect to a much lesser extent, because at this moment now, if anything changes also, the suppliers inside their plant, as per the VMI, they have maintained these materials or components with themselves. So that way, actually, it happens because see, if the communication is not happening on real time or proper time on two-way communication, then it will trigger some type of like panic in the whole chain. And this panic is basically called bullwhip, because it comes very suddenly, and it will be like means derail your plan, your program, your system, everything, your payment cycle, everything will get derailed if it is happening in a very large extent. And bullwhip effect mostly comes, if I say, in like FMCGs, because they are actually consumed on very faster mode. FMCG, that's the FMCG. So due to which, if it is not being taken care much, then your distributors and retailers inventory will pile up like anything. And it will very soon, it will be like obsolete. Customers won't like it or won't take it up. So at this moment, it will be very difficult for these industries to take care of this material which are already out of the factory. Otherwise, for the engineering industries, or like our in the case of oil and gas industries, it is a continuous industry, continuous process. So if they are not using, or if anything is being demanded more later, so it can be accommodated across it, because it doesn't demand like a very product specific, or it doesn't demand like any specification specific. It can be managed as per the requirement. But FMCG part is, I say, it has a much more effect on bullwhip if not taken properly about these decisions on the customer demands.
Okay, thank you.
So one question is the SCM with 5G. See, 5G is basically internet part of thing, which is enabling technology. So when I say for the industry 4.0, it is basically, it will be more fruitful if you go for the 5G, because it is more faster in data transfer. So that's the reason government is planning for this rollout of 4G very faster, because 5G is the more advanced version, and which will be help us in more connectivity. And I can say one thing, in coming years, there will be no IoT, there will be IoE, Internet of Everything. So everything will be now on internet. So to make it feasible is 5G, and 5G is very much required for full automation of any factory or industry. Warehousing part, yeah, warehousing part is part of the supply chain. So obviously warehousing part is always involved with commercials. So in that case, GST implementation has to be there. But if the suppose your suppliers are under composite, so obviously the large industry has to digest that part of the GST. And GST implementation, we cannot say that because anything is produced with value will be like earlier with service tax, or you can say that obviously that we should be having the taxation part, because if adding any value to any service or product will catch the taxation part. So GST implementation will be there, and no differences in supply chain. Everyone was afraid earlier when GST was supposed to get implemented, that what will happen in the supply chain. Supply chain will get more lean, or it will get more complex. Nothing. It is running for the last, I think, 3-4 years. No issue. Only thing is that it is more online, more visible, more transparent. So it is good that there is lesser cases of like you can say means you can say what you can say data forgery or data fraud is not happening. It cannot happen because everything is real time. So it is not making any sense in supply chain, only that it is enable supply chain for faster payment, better delivery, better collaborations, better transparency. It is something like government has allowed this system so that one part of the enablers to supply chain is being made in this country.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful presentation.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. So next week, Institution of Engineers, Tiruchirappalli Local Center organizes bipedal locomotion and overview. Speaker is from NIT Calicut, Assistant Professor in Mechanical Engineering, Dr. Sudhir. So I request all of you kindly participate in that program also. We will circulate the information through mail. Now, may I request Engineer Selvaraj to propose vote of thanks?
Sir, thank you, sir. It was a wonderful presentation, sir. We enjoyed your presentation. Thank you for sparing your time and sparing your rich knowledge in this field, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We are very much thankful to Dr. Pranjal Kumar Phukan, Global General Secretary, World Mathematics Association, Advisor to Japan Education and Skill Development Council, for an excellent presentation about supply chain management. We enjoyed your presentation, sir. Thank you so much. I thank our past chairman, Samida sir, Engineer Samida sir, for introducing the audience to the today's audience. And I also thank our present chairman for announcing next week's program. And I thank all the members of Indian Institute of Metals, Indian Welding Society Southern Zone, Indian Institute of Welding, Computers of India, Institute of Engineers, all members, past chairman Samida sir, past chairman Karupasamy sir. Thank you, Dr. Dharmaling sir, for participating and gracing the function. I thank all the committee members, all the invitees for participating in today's webinar. Thank you, Undal. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Pranjal. Thank you.